So Putin apologizes for tragic incident, but stopped short of saying Azerbaijani plane was shot down. So, as you may know, an Embraer E190 from Azerbaijan Airlines was shot down on Christmas Day. And it unfortunately resulted in the loss of life of 38 people. Official from the Kremlin stated that the air defense systems were firing near Grozny as the airliner repeatedly attempted to land. It did not explicitly say one of these hit the plane, though. But the president, Ilham Aliyev of Azerbaijan, for the fact that the tragic incident occurred in Russian airspace. The readout said Russia launched a criminal probe into the incident, and state prosecutors have arrived for relevant services. The plane was flying from Baku to Grozny when it turned toward Kazakhstan, hundreds of kilometers across the Caspian Sea from the intended destination, and crashed while making an attempt to land. There were 29 survivors. Thought it just said 38. Oh, they must have died after. According to the readout, the call to the press off as external physical and technical interference, but he stopped short of blaming the Russian air defenses due to foreign particles penetrating the cabin mid-flight. Well, a surface-to-air missile would be a foreign particle.
Yes.
With a rapid unscheduled disassembly. Apparently he did, but I haven't spoken to him. Biden made a comment after leading church about whether Putin should take responsibility for the crash. However, so basically, there's other articles. Basically, they get shot and they attempt to make an emergency landing and they're denied. The Russians said no. And so they are now diverting. And as they're diverting, they're losing control of the aircraft, hydraulics and whatnot. And it sounds like early reports, it's kind of a Sioux City scenario where these pilots are just doing everything they can to control it. Using whatever methods possible up to and including, thrust, differential thrust, all that stuff. And unfortunately, when they got to the, they got to a point where they couldn't control it anymore, did the best they could, it crashed. And there were actually some survivors, which to me is absolutely incredible that we're talking about there being survivors on this. But it is very similar to what we just talked about with, drone saturation and air defenses shooting down friendlies or non-participating aircraft, which is very bad. We think this is a problem, or I think this is a problem. You guys can tell me what you think, but it is a problem. The fact that they won't take responsibility is not unsurprising, but it's wrong because you shoot down an airliner. It's not the first time they've shot down an airliner. And it's one of the things we talked about when we talked about the Hornet is we're lucky it was a Hornet and not an actual airliner, because that is bad as well. But what do you guys think about this?
Dude, again, thoughts and prayers to those who didn't make it. On the same token, those pilots, man, those guys, gals were heroes.
Yeah,
we don't know exactly what happened, but by all accounts, they were, no hides, no flight controls, just flying it with the thrust of each engine. And like you said, it's just like the Sioux City incident. And I don't know anything about the Embraer and how its flight control system, but dude, that's some incredible aviating, and my hat's off to them, because there was a lot of it. We've all seen the footage. That was a spectacular crash. I would argue uncontrolled almost, and it's amazing that anybody survived.
Survivable,
yeah, that anybody survived. So it really shows the professionalism of the pilots, and really, man, in my opinion, the Embraer must be a well-built airplane. Like, I don't know anything about it, but yeah, as far as it getting shot down, I've always wondered. It kind of brings back, because I was in Malaysia when MH17 got shot down, and at the time I was like, what are airliners doing flying around near war zones? And not to defend the Russians, but in and around that vicinity, allegedly, because I was doing a little research earlier, there were some hostile Ukrainian drones that they had shot down. So not giving them an excuse for shooting down an airliner, but as a logical thinking person, I could see how an accident like this could happen. But at the same time, man, I'm kind of at a loss, right? Because airliners have transponders, they squawk, they're on certain routes, and I'm not super smart on every drone the Ukrainians use, but I mean, airliners generally, I would think fly higher and faster than
Probably a
most.
bigger
Was it-
radar
was
cross
it-
section, right?
Yeah.
Was it landing? Was it coming in to land in Russia?
I mean, even if it was, right? I mean, they're watching it come out of.
They're talking. They should be talking to them. I mean, it should be a
right. But then,
I mean, we were
But
talking
then
to our
again,
Hornet
we're
and
also
shot it.
talking to
Yeah.
our Super Hornet.
It's
Right.
probably different
Right.
people, and that's the thing is where bureaucracy and kill chains happen that are separate from who they need to be. I mean, an SA-22 is a double-digit SAM, dude. I mean,
no escape.
What do you expect these guys to do?
Yeah, nothing. I mean, they did what they could, which was
amazing. I mean, incredible. Like the pilots will go down as, if all that is confirmed, which it appears to be, it'll be the Sioux City thing. The fact that anybody survived, that they did what they could with the information they had. And somebody asked, captain's authority, right? Wombat, you're obviously as a captain, you're very familiar with this, but people are like, well, why didn't they say captain's authority and just land in Russia, even though they said no? They just shot at him.
Yeah.
You just got shot at. I mean, what's to say they're not going to A, shoot again, or B, if you do land, shoot you with an AK? Yeah. Like, I don't disagree with that at all. I don't trust it.
Definitely. Those are things that I hope when I fly to Omaha tomorrow, I don't
Nobody
have to
shoots at you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's, I can only imagine. I mean, that's a whole different level, man, to be flying around. You look at like flight aware and stuff like that, and just I'm like, my goodness, why? Like, what are we doing? Like, you don't have to go to Meemaw's house that bad. Like, I mean,
that's they're living this every day. I mean, otherwise,
I know. But my ignorant, fat, dumb American cushy lifestyle, that's where my brain goes. So like, what are we doing here? Like, I just feel bad. Like you put yourself, again, like I said on the first one, you put yourself in that situation. It's the last thing you think about in an airliner. Like it just, I feel for them.
They probably didn't even know.
Good pilots. Yeah, they probably had no idea what hit them. I mean, other than
all the heights go to zero, and you're like, oh,
yeah. You're like, that's unfortunate.
Well, you hear
I'm sure that I'm assuming the plane probably lurched or something.
Well, there's footage from inside the airplane where you can see where shrapnel has gone through. There's like panels open and in the airplane, but yeah, it's wild. I mean, they're lucky the airplane stayed airborne and intact, for them to attempt a crash landing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I just there's some. I mean, to me, like the human aspect of it, right? I mean, if you haven't seen that video of the one gentleman who's like talking to his phone, like saying his prayers and goodbye to his wife, then he survives it afterwards, and they interview him. I mean, it's like, it's incredible. I mean, yeah. I don't know. I think they're going to send the black boxes to Brazil. I think. To download all the data, get everything we need to know, and the truth will probably come out on this one, just being a civilian event, but I don't know, man.